Hey, what's going on? I want to show you a little bit of 3D work that I did for my own personal enjoyment. And the reason I want to show this is because you don't always have to do everything perfect and by the book, super professional. You don't have to worry yourself about that. When you're creating an image, it's an illusion. It's about perception. It's about making it look like it is something. And it doesn't have to actually be that thing in order to just look like it, right? So there are many ways to get that look. You don't have to do everything by the book. It doesn't have to be super professional. The only brief I gave myself with this, and it's probably why it's my favorite piece, and it's so simple, and yet it's my favorite piece, because I said to myself, right, I want a backdrop for my desktop that is calming, that I find calming and inspires that creative part of me, the kind of tickles the inner child and makes me want to work. When I sit down in front of my screen, I want to think, oh yeah, I want to get creative. I want to create something. I want to make something. I want to design, do some game design, or put this piece of software together I was doing, or do some of this graphics. And that was my only idea when I went into this. And I just freestyled it. And I started off with, I'll show you now. So if we just cut to the Blender. Okay, so this, you're thinking, what is this? Well, first of all, this box here is the water, okay? This box here, which I can't even click on because I've pressed deselect, is a volume, okay, for some mist. And this up here is actually, oddly enough, for the lighting. I do use lights, but what I've done is I've contained them in a mesh. So if I click that on, you can see the scene now, right? And if I go to rendered view, now you can see what's going on a bit better, albeit a bit blurry, but that's okay. It's going to take a while to crisp up. What we'll do is take a look. You see, this is all one piece, right? That's all it is, and that's it. I just created a circular base, made a cylinder, just off the face of it, just started extruding and pulling it about, and it ended up being an island. And when I got to here, I started rotating the extrusions to twist them to make this almost spiral kind of effect. Left it low poly to look like rocks, and then I made this base of the main structure, whether it's a lighthouse or whatever. I was just freestyling, and I separated this top so I could apply different kind of shading to it. It's got, I think it's auto smooth, yeah, because it's supposed to be glass, so I gave it a little bit of smoothness, while I left everything else completely low poly flat. And that's it. That's all the modeling it took. The only other modeling is if I could find them. Where are we? I'm around the wrong side. Okay, here we are. Fishies. Okay. Very simple stuff, because it doesn't matter. You're at a distance, and it's just to create the silhouette, yeah, in the water. They're not animated or anything. So little branches and lots of fishies. They're all the same model. I didn't use arrays here because I wanted to shape it. I think this is the only other different model. This looks like a sort of a shark thing, baby shark or something. I don't know. But anyway, just to give a little sort of sea-like diorama in there, if you will. And that's it. That's the whole thing. I've got a backdrop here. Once again. The interesting thing here, I think, is how I did the lighting and why I did the lighting like this. I wanted a beam of light, you see. And in order to have a beam, I chopped up, just a second, let me figure this out. I think that's it there, yeah. Let's turn that off for a second. Right, so what I've got here is just a box with these bits cut out, and it means that I can, anytime I like, fill up these faces to block out light, delete other faces to open up light. It's just blaring light in there. But the reason I did that is because Yeah, I could have had a light just shining down in this direction. But when I turn the volume on, you can see now there's a beam here. See that? It's like a sun, like a ray of sunshine coming down on it. Very subtle. I wanted it very subtle, but I still wanted to accentuate that beam and define it. And in my mind, this is how I came up with doing it, because I do photography as well and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what? Let's just have a massive light source and have a really sharp hole in it, so that when the light's coming through with those sharp edges, it will be piercing through it. And then we'll add some haze, the light will hit it, and I'll get a nice light beam through it. So that was my thinking, and that's how it got to that. You see, it's clearing up a bit now because it's rendering it pretty well, even in viewport mode. And I gave the haze a kind of pinky purple color. It gives it a warmth. You see, without the haze, the warmth isn't there. It just gives it that little bit of warmth. And I'll bring up so you can see no haze, very blue, very cold. The difference in these two, I think, is actually there's a tiny bit of haze there. There's more there, you see. So as you can see, no haze. It's just too blue. It's cold. It doesn't give me that relaxed vibe. Bit better, much better, much better. The fish are more subtle here. You can't see the excuse me. You can't see the island underneath. Whereas here, it was too transparent. Here, it's just too transparent. Didn't work well for me. This didn't sit right. It's distracting. So that's better. Now we got a bit of subtlety there. It's got a smoother feel to the whole image. Now for me, I love this. I don't know if anyone else will like it, but like I say, this is one of my favorite pieces that I've done. And I've got folders full of all kinds of graphics that I've made over the years. I've been playing with graphics all my life. I mean, I'm 40 years old. When I was, gosh, not even a teenager yet, we had a computer and I was into Photoshop and all that. And I've got years of pictures saved up, and this is one of my favorites. And I have this as my desktop background, as you can see. And when I start my computer and see that, it does it for me. I've even thought about making this interactive somehow. I often think about this. I make a lot of still images, especially in 3D. I like a bit of 3D art, and I like low poly. And I look at these scenes sometimes and I think, what game can I make out of this? You know, this is an environment essentially. Shall I put it into Unreal and do something with it? And, you know, one has to find the time to do these things because it's pretty indulgent. It's not like it's for any particular project or whatever, but it is something I will do eventually. And for now, I just wanted to put it out there, maybe inspire someone who doesn't have all the knowledge of 3D, who still wants to make images. I mean, all I did was chuck a box in there and throw a light inside it that's extremely bright. Okay, so all I've done here is like a basic water shader, and I've got here actually on top of it another plane, as you can see here. If I take that off, take that out of the way, there's a plane on top of this that looks like water. I've just used a displacement modifier to create water. If I press animate, you can see it animating a little bit too fast, but oh god, that's diabolical, isn't it? It's never going to render it. But yeah, anyway, you get the idea. I can then have that little lip on top of the ocean that makes it look like you're in the ocean looking at it, so that you can see the light bouncing around on the surface there. See that? Just little tiny, it just makes that difference. And then there, you see, Makes it look real. Well, real. It makes it look like water, should I say, rather than it looks real. It looks like water. Gives it that. And if I press space, it will move. It will change. So I can change the position of it depending on the animation time. You know. Like I say, it'd be nice to animate it. Maybe make one of those little videos, those relaxing videos that they have on YouTube. Put some music to it, some wave sounds or something, some beach sounds. Maybe one of those relaxing videos would be quite cool. But I just, at the moment, it serves its purpose and that's it. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I hope it inspires someone to get creative and just start experimenting in Blender. There's many ways to make the image you want to make. Here I've got another little light just to add a bit on there, because without it, I'm very careful with lights not to put too much in. They create shadows, you see, so you've got to be careful. So this, you see, the shadow is just a little bit too dark there for my liking, and what it did was it created a very hard line here, very hard line right there on that. So by adding that bit of light, there we go, it just softens it up. The hard line is still there, but once it's fully rendered, it's not so bad. It just looks really bad there because it's trying to make it up. But yeah, little touches of light. I have other lights there that I've switched off, I think, for mood lighting. Like I tried the red. I thought, what does it look like with a bit of red? Or I thought, nah, it's too dramatic, it's too much. I've got other ocean waves as well there. Let's turn that plane off, put the ocean waves on and see. So they look a bit better, but it's too rough. You see that? You see how subtle that one is? Whereas this one, it's very harsh. It looks like a rough sea. It's not calming, is it? So I'm all about subtleties when making these sort of things. It's very, they're just little touches that just, that's why I say it's more about perception and how it feels to look at it, rather than how accurate it is or how realistic it is. We have this modern obsession with everything being realistic, and nothing ever is. But we go, oh, it's not realistic. It's not like that. It's not like, well, that's not the point, is it? It's art. It's about perception and how it makes you feel. So yeah, anyway, that's enough for this video. Just a quick little 3D art inspiration video for you. Hope you enjoyed it.